Hey, and welcome from Colombia, I suppose.
Yep.
If you watched our last video, you would have seen us finally leaving Panama after the 2 months breakdown hell.
Managed to get out.
And whilst we showed the steps of the process, we didn't quite break down the costing. So we thought doing a video detailing how much it will cost you if you're doing a similar trip might be useful to people further down the line. Obviously, prices are going to change, but it gives you a rough ballpark figure.
This is prices for May 2022. What it cost us to leave Colombia, to leave Panama even, and then enter Colombia, the total price.
And in this video, we're going to break it down, all of the costs on the Panama side and then all of the costs on the Colombian side.
And then we'll give you a total at the end, what it costs.
And you see how much money we hemorrhaged.
So, first up is Ruby.
Yeah, vehicle costs. So, as we said in the last video, there's two options for shipping around the Darién Gap. One is Ro-Ro, which is roll on, roll off. And the other option is a container. Now, it depends on the size of your vehicle and how many people are looking to ship around the same time as you, which will dictate which option you go for. We opted for the container.
Being more secure as well, and we easily fit in a container, so that's a plus for us. And if you can find other people to share with you, then a container is also much cheaper. Ro-Ro is about the same price as paying for an entire container by yourself. So the container costs $2,750.
And that price changed during the start of our conversations with Alejandro, who has a company called the Overland Embassy based in Panama City. Alejandro is a former traveller. He's just getting started, helping people ship across from Panama to Colombia. And
it went up to $500?
$500 it went up for the container. This is based on fuel price changes due to the current climate.
Yeah, the current situation with Russia, and also there's been some delays at this point with COVID and containers being held and so on. So bear in mind that the price isn't really fixed until very close to the time you actually leave. But that's what we paid for our container.
We were very fortunate.
We were very lucky.
That we shared with 3 other motorbikes and a car, so we paid about 30% roughly of the container cost.
Which brought it to $840 we paid for our container.
Now our friends Kartik and Sim shipped the same time as us, and they only had another car, so their split was 50-50. So obviously price completely different based on who's available. But it is a secure option. Our other friends who we met whilst we were at the Overland Embassy shipped by Ro-Ro, and when they went to collect their car, it had been broken into and they'd lost some personal items. So something to bear in mind when you're shipping, because you'll read about it and you'll go, but it probably won't happen, but it does
happen. So yeah, that was our container. And then in terms of leaving Panama, there's no other costs for your vehicle. You have to cancel your tip,
which is arranged when the container comes. You don't really have to do much for that.
You don't have to pay for it, you just have to make sure it's cancelled. And we did the police inspection, which is free, but we never got asked for the documentation. We never got asked for any documentation regarding the van when we got to the airport.
But we have heard other people travelling with us who were asked for it.
So make sure you have like the bill of lading, and that your tip is cancelled. So that is the full cost for us to leave, get the van out of the country.
And then with Ruby sorted, we then had to sort ourselves out, which meant we had to get to Cartagena. Again, there's 2 options to do this. You can take the simple option of flying over, which is a really quick flight, it takes about 45 minutes, or you can take a 3-day boat journey through the Sandblas Islands, which are beautiful, and it's a great experience by the looks of it, but we found very hard to arrange when you've got cats.
Dogs is easier, cats is, we didn't find it, we had problems with it. Didn't actually get anyone who would take us with cats, and also the time of year that we went was pretty rainy and horrible. And the thing with taking the boat option is it's 3 times more expensive per person to do it. So you're kind of gutted if you've paid around $550 to $600 per person to take the boat and then it rains, because the San Blas Islands are, all there is to do really is kind of enjoy the nature and the island. So if it's horrible weather, you're kind of stuck. So we flew.
Yeah, we flew. Again, because we've got the pets, we chose to fly with Copper Airline. They offer pets and even allow the pets in the cabin as long as you meet certain requirements, having a pet approved cat carrier bag for
Kind
cats.
of standard.
Dogs are also allowed on as well. So because we went with Copper, we chose a weekday because pets aren't allowed in the cabin on a weekend.
And Copper is not the cheapest airline. So our flights with Copper cost us $218 per person. Just the flight, no baggage, no seats, no insurance or anything like that.
We did pay for those things.
We
on
paid
top.
for a few things, and I think that brought our flight total price to $476 for both of us. We reserved seats and we got some insurance, because you never can tell with shipping like what's going to happen. You could fly with Wingo if you don't have pets, and I don't have the prices off the top of my head, but I think it's about half the price.
Yeah, I think so.
So that makes a difference. So that was the cost of us personally getting out the country.
Yeah, it was fairly straightforward. So with Ruby and us sorted, that just left the cats, and they actually needed probably the most processes out of everything.
As every border, the pets are often the slowest, the most complicated, and the most expensive. I mean, they weren't quite the most expensive, but yeah, it's still
an
a
additional
process.
cost. So the first thing we got done was the health certificates.
That's $45.
$45 per pet is what we found. I mean, we didn't look extensively. We opted with a pet shop and vets named American Pets.
Probably can get it cheaper if you really look around, but we were pretty pushed for time, so that was kind of the going rate.
Yep, really smooth. They just need to see your pet passport containing the vaccinations that must be in date. Yeah, they check for general health and that's it.
And then you can get your export papers from the government office, and that is $10.
$10. It was a bit of faff. You have to complete an online document.
But we covered that in our last video.
Yeah. Again, we'll put the link for
if you want to see
form.
the process a little bit more, because this is just the cost.
Yeah, we'll put the link for the form in the description below, and then it'll make it a little bit easier. All of it's available to read on iOverlander anyway.
$10 covers both pets. You only need one form for however many animals you have, I think. So you do that, then you do that, then you can, you want to make sure you've booked your flight for the pets, so you have to book them like kind of their own space on the plane, and that is $130 per pet.
Expensive.
Very expensive.
Straight.
You can do the emotional support animal thing, which is if you have a heavier or a bigger pet that wouldn't fit like under the seat, you could look into that option, and we know our friends did that, and I think it's actually a bit cheaper, but there's a few different options with pets. But yeah, first, just to book a straight up flight, $130.
And yeah, that's
us all on the plane and Ruby on a boat.
Our cost getting out of Panama.
But you will probably have to have a time period where you wait, because you're going to load. You don't want to you can, but you don't want to load and then just leave the country. Maybe there's a problem. So most people end up paying for some accommodation for a few days.
Yeah, we found an Airbnb. It's more like a homestay, living with a Panamanian family. They were lovely. We had weird bread and cheese every morning for breakfast, which
again,
was
booking.com or Airbnb, loads of options.
Hostels, lots of places.
Probably paying $20+ per night for some kind of accommodation for whatever time frame you have
we
to
booked
cover.
3 nights, which cost us $109.
Again, pet friendly is limiting sometimes. So yeah.
So yeah, we will show you all of these costs at the end of the video, added up, and one final price.
Okay.
That's Panama done. Now we've got the Colombian side. Okay, so the main person who deals with your import and clearing the docks is named Ana Rodriguez. We were handed all her details by Alejandro in Panama City and communicated to her via WhatsApp.
She only speaks Spanish.
She only speaks
FYI.
Spanish, but with the help of Google Translate, and even if you've got basic Spanish, you can get there in the end.
It's kind of all built into the process. You don't... Whether you need Anna is, I'm not sure, up for debate, and there's mixed reviews on her services, but if you just kind of follow the process, then you will automatically kind of be allocated to her, and she organises how you get out of the port, basically.
She will sort out all of your import paperwork, all of the port handling, storage, insurance. So we got, again, a whole price for the process, and then we split it based on the size of the vehicle.
It was split the same way that the container price is split. So if your cars, bikes in a container, the bikes generally pay half the cars. So we paid with another car and 3 bikes. It was like a 16% kind of split thing. So that was, the total was $1,600.
Yep.
Which is a fairly standard fee, I think, just for the container as a whole to come in and be processed, and we paid 25% of that, I believe, which brings us to $485.
Yep.
But that includes insurance.
Yeah, our insurance was $52 of that.
$52, and it's worth mentioning that $30 approximately of that is storage fees from the port. So when your container comes in, you have 3 calendar days from including the day that it arrives, and it includes weekends. Even though you can't have it at the weekend, it still includes Sunday. So
we ended up paying
naturally
for 1 day.
we arrived over the weekend. We didn't want to unload our container over the weekend because you have to leave your vehicle in the port with the keys, and it's not secured, I don't think. So we paid for an extra day to keep our stuff safe. So that is a slight extra charge to that.
Yep. But that's basically it. It's all sorted in-house. So once you've got your vehicle, you just drive off and away you go.
We didn't have to pay it, but if you don't have health insurance, then you have to pay $30 to enter the port, and they provide you with 1 day health insurance. If you do have it, you provide her with the policy and you don't have to pay.
Now, we'll be honest, we didn't have it, but we do have Photoshop, so a quick change of documents, and we had something that resembled insurance in case the container falls on your head and crushes you. So, yeah, we did that.
And you need a PCR test or antigen test if you only have 1 vaccine, also to enter the port.
And another side note, whilst we're still on the port, when you arrive, you need to have covered shoes, long sleeve top, and trousers, something that we weren't quite aware of.
So when you pack all your stuff away, make sure you take those with you, because otherwise you have to go and buy some. I mean, they say they maybe can lend you some, but...
Yeah, if you've got it, may as well just have it.
Yes, you need them to access the port.
Now, we were unfortunate that we had many delays waiting for Ruby, so in the meantime, we arranged an apartment share with our container buddies, staying in and around Cartagena. It's really hard because you've never got a fixed date, so we booked one apartment.
A bit like 5 nights, sharing for the first one, and then it was delayed.
We've paid between $10 to $15 a person per night for the apartments. Obviously, that price will all depend on your circumstances. Again, we had to find something big enough for all of us and that was pet friendly. Most people can probably just go stay in a hostel.
Whatever you want, but we ended up paying for 2 weeks worth of accommodation, so that ended up being actually quite a significant cost of waiting for the van. But for ourselves, there's no costs. You don't have to pay for a visa or anything like that. You just come straight through the airport.
Yeah. Nice and straightforward for a change. Okay, when you get to the airport, if you've got a pet, you will be asked to fill out import documents declaring that you wish to import animals. You then get taken to an additional building just outside of the main entrance where they will import your animals for you. It's a process that takes about 30 minutes.
Guy was super friendly and very excited. Again, one fee for both pets, and it's about $12.50 to do that, so it's not expensive, and it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and then that was us done and ready to leave once we had Ruby ready.
So that is the total costs,
Broken down for each
breakdown
side.
of everything that we had to pay to cross the most expensive border that there is. So now we're gonna add it all up
And tell you how much we spent in total. Okay then, totals are in. So Panama, our entire cost was $1,785.
To receive it in Colombia, we paid $786, and that brings us to a total price
Oh,
of
2,000.
573
2,573
to cross the Darién Gap.
Now, obviously, that was our experience based on all of the circumstances, which will change person to person. But hopefully that gives you a rough idea of what you should be looking at if you're trying to budget this into a trip that you're planning on starting after this video.
This is actually a pretty cheap price. We know people that have paid a lot more, so sharing, obviously the more people you share with, both for your accommodation and for your container, if you go with a container, makes it much cheaper. If you leave your pets in Panama, it's also cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just couldn't do it.
Okay, hopefully that was useful.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nice to share. Wasn't nice to spend. But we're here now, and yeah, join us next time, and we're going to start getting back into the swing of things, sharing
Time to explore
Colombia. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe. If you've got any questions about anything we've talked about or need any more clarification, drop us a message below and we will try our best to help you. See you next time.